Hello and welcome back to the Penal channel. It's been a long time. We haven't been here for a long while. My hair's grown long. It's been that long. I said I wouldn't get it trimmed until I was back. And I'm joined by my bro, Ads. How you doing?
How you doing, Reese? It's good to be back, man. It's been a long time, like you said.
It's been
So
too long, hasn't it, since we've
yeah,
done one
man,
of
it's been
these.
way too long. So yeah, good to be back, man. Good to be back speaking about Villa.
Yeah, the last time we done one was Newcastle after that demoralising defeat. It
Yeah,
felt like the end of the world. It felt like the season was going to come to an abrupt end from the first game. Little optimism from the performance. There were still things to look ahead for, but also Tyrone Mings had got injured in that game. We just come from Emi Bundia having his ACL, and yeah, and it was looking bleak at the time. But roll on now to the second international break, and it's looking very positive at the moment at Villa. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling so far regarding Villa?
I just I think what I love with Villa the most is like this win. I know we've just come off a draw now, but like this whole win-loss thing that we've got, like it's just so rare that like we'll draw a game under Emery. Like I love that we can beat the teams around us. And yeah, man, just speaking recently, coming off that Chelsea and Brighton, those two wins is massive, massive
Yeah,
wins, man.
yeah. We'll
And
go into all of that and how well we seem to have turned it around from that first game. Few blips along the way, a few bumps, but
few
we seem
blips.
to have got just a couple of blips. There's never an international break without any news regarding Villa, is there? Regarding a certain Italian, we've had that this week,
Always
and
something, man.
always something going on. We had the massive news of the partnership today with a Japanese side. So yeah, it's all go at Villa. It always is go at Villa. And yeah, let's start with a little recap of what's been going on then. What's been happening? Played eight in the Premier League. Played eight, won five, drawn one, lost two. Two defeats against teams. You go to their grounds, St James Park, Anfield. You're not expecting much, no matter how good we've been throughout the year. You don't expect much going to those games. Maybe the first game of the season, but I felt, and I'm sure we both stated on our preview, it was going to be a very difficult game, that first game. And it was. It turned out to be a disastrous start. But yeah, apart from that and the Liverpool games within the league, we've played very, very well. We've looked very competent, especially against sides in the bottom half of the league. We're looking like we can dispatch them with ease. Wolves are put to the side as that is a derby in essence. It's the closest side to us within the league. So they treat it as a big game. Some of our fans treat it as a big game as well. I don't see it as that so much, but we never get anything from Molineux anyway. It's been a while, and we do struggle at home against them. So coming off that, that was our last performance, a 1-1 draw. Could have felt like we could have got the 3 points in the last 12 minutes of extra time. We had chances to do so. But after the performance from the first half and majority of the second as well, I felt like it was a point earned more than 2 points lost. What were your thoughts on that game? And then let's just have a recap of how we've been going so far within the Premier League.
Yeah, the Wolves game, obviously, as you know, I was there, and I say for the first half, it just felt like Villa were like moving the ball really slow. Like I get we were trying to like bait Wolves to come out, and like we know how dangerous they are when they get the ball on like transition and stuff. But yeah, I just would have thought move the ball a bit quicker. But we did create that chance with Cash at the back post, which was a big chance. Um, yeah, would have just liked to see the ball play quicker. But as you said, second half, and then especially when they went down to 10 men, like we had chances, we had
Mm.
big chances, and in my opinion, got robbed of a penalty.
Yeah, it was a pen for me as well. Doherty's pushed Watkins in the back. He's taken him off his standing foot. He's gone to shoot. He's gone to go across Sarr. And in the end, it's ended up hitting the side netting because he's been pushed in the back. It's a pen for me. Some may say it's soft, but there's a definite hand on the back and a
Yeah,
push in the direction
yeah.
of his back, which is enough to take someone off their balance when they're on one standing foot and going to shoot. But
It's
yeah,
almost like Watkins gets penalised for taking the shot. It's like
yeah,
if he doesn't
100%.
take a shot and he's been
And
pushed to the ground, it's a more believable story for the referees.
and
It's weird how that works. Like it's the same thing.
refereeing in general, the, what sticks prominently in my mind is a Johan Visser one against Nottingham Forest, where it's a clear penalty. The Forest keeper goes straight through Visser. It's a clear pen. And because he gets back up and tries to slot the ball into an open goal, it's not given because he's just showing so much desire to get to the ball. They think, oh, it's not a penalty. When
Yeah.
looking back at it, it was a straight stonewall penalty, and that was similar. Not as should I say obvious, but it was still a penalty for me. But yeah, anyway, so the Wolves game. Apart from that, the Liverpool game again is one I write under. I think we just caught them on a very good day for Liverpool.
Yeah,
And
we was poor. We were poor.
very poor. We were very poor, but then it was a very good Liverpool as well. I thought that's probably one of the best games I've seen them play this season for their standard, especially that first half.
Trent was
all over us.
Man.
Yeah, just killed
Trent
us.
just had that ball over the top.
But yeah, the good games, the victories. Everton absolutely battered them for me. Great result. Palace, another great result. Albeit it took the last 10 minutes to get the 2 goals to win it. I thought we dominated that game in large parts. I know they had a bit of a spell in the second half when Ezzy had that chance to make it 2.
We were good in that first half, man.
Yeah, we were very good.
Dominated.
And we deserved to be out of sight in that first half.
Yeah, 100%. Second half, we weren't good until we woke up a bit with the Duran goal. But first half, yeah, we were really good against Palace. Any other day, and like you said, we're like 2-3 up.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. You've got the Burnley away game again, a game where I thought we were professional with how we went about it. Got the 2 goals. I know they got 1 back just before half time, but then we went out second half. Diaby got the 3rd, and it was just another convincing display. Again, another game which could have been 5, 6s towards the end of the game. We were very competent and very professional in that performance against a side who'd just been promoted their their second home game, but they'd played Man City first game of the season, their second home game, and we just dispatched them. Very convincing. You also have, I was just going to say, what other games were we thinking of here that we've missed out on? Yeah. We'll leave that one to last because we had Palace, Everton, Burnley. What's the other one? What's the other victory we're missing off here? Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge. A game where I thought it was backs to the wall. It was very similar to last season. I thought that both performances were very similar. Although we got the goal earlier in the game last season. We did a job on them. We did another job on them. They missed some big chances. They did. Martinez stepped up. But once we got the goal, and obviously the red card happened just before, we were just very professional again within that. And got a victory which was very well earned from that game. And then
going on to Brighton, man.
Yeah, Brighton. A game which I missed. A game which I wasn't able to attend. I thought about...
Just a minor game. Nothing really happened.
We usually beat Brighton anyway, like a 2-1, 3-1. I did not expect that performance and that result. As you were there, bro, what were your thoughts? How did you feel about it?
It's funny because I hadn't watched the game back till yesterday. I watched it back around this time last night. And man. Just outside of 1 or 2 spells that Brighton had, we were just ruthless.
Yeah,
just ruthless. Like our pressing, the way that we just weren't allowing them to play football. The way Watkins, Diaby, just relentless, man. And then Luis Kamara pushing out. It was just so good to see, winning the ball back. And then on transition, just clinical. Like no messing about from Watkins, from Diaby, etc. So yeah, man, just such an encouraging performance.
And especially for Ollie, I mean, he does get it at times. I think the fan base can be split at times with how clinical he is. I'm an avid supporter of Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, man. We said it. Look, we've said it on here before, man. As long as he gets chances, the goals will come. Like if he was going 3 or 4 games where he doesn't register a shot, then I'd be concerned. I'd be like, whoa, what's going on here? Is his movement wrong? What's happening? But if he's getting chances, it's fine, man.
Yeah, and he was going to click, and that's what happened. 4 goals in 2 games, it clicked. Yeah. And I saw a quote from Watkins today saying about how fickle fan bases can be in fans.
Sending shots.
I agree with him. I agree with him. It's in all fan bases. It is. It's in all fans.
Them quotes are okay now because he signed the contract, so I'm not worried about them quotes.
Yeah, and there'd be nothing to talk about if there weren't quotes like that. That's what makes football. You have to have fans like that. You have to have fans on the opposite side as well. What makes fandom and football debate so interesting. So yeah, fantastic. I think it's a fantastic start to the season for me. If you'd have told me we'd be on 16 points and in this position after the first 8 games, I would have taken it.
Solid.
Especially with competing in Europe as well, adjusting to that, which we'll get onto. But having 16 points, not even being fifth in the table, having that amount of points, because that
Yeah.
amount of points could be higher in the table at this stage in other seasons. So getting that amount of points, and I think we're going to see this season there's a massive discrepancy between the top 10 and the bottom 10.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be really difficult to finish higher this year due to that, because a lot of the top teams are going to be beating the bottom teams. And you're not going to get in as many shot results or shot factors. It's going to be, convincing victories. And it's just them 10 teams then, can they battle it out against each other and how they fare that way? I don't know what your thoughts is on that. Do you feel like the league is easy this season in regard to the strength of the top 10 and the supposed
in regard to the
weakness of
strength of the
bottom
top 10? Well, I think one way to look at it is I do think this is probably the weakest promoted sides we've seen in a while, if we're being brutally honest. Like Sheffield United haven't shown anything whatsoever. Luton been more admirable, but like there's a lack of quality there. And then
Burnley, so Burnley as well.
And Burnley are getting, like, they're showing different style of play, but like they are getting battered in certain games.
Yeah,
like Chelsea just hit them for 5 or 4, was it? So yeah, I'd say in that regard, 100%. And then you got teams like Fulham around, like
you've got teams like Fulham. You lose Mitrovic, Paulinho mostly. It's okay, he stayed, but there was a point where it looked like he was going to leave as well. They're bringing in players like Iwobi, albeit decent at Everton, but you lose your star striker and you end up playing Vinicius up front.
And Jimenez signing,
it's not
a needle mover. He doesn't move.
A striker who was great at one point, but after the injury, Wolves,
who's under decline now,
relinquished. He was, he wasn't required at Wolves, a team who a side like Fulham should see themselves competing against. So it's I feel there is a big gap between the top 10 teams and the bottom 10 teams for sure. My top 10 teams would include the supposed top 6, then Villa, Brighton, Newcastle, West Ham. I think they're the 10. And Wolves aren't even too far off. If they,
to be fair, Brentford as well, I probably will be up.
I find with Tony, the loss of Tony's a big hindrance. So that they are weak. Yeah, but I've watched some of Brentford's. To be fair. No, the United is. I don't think that's a barometer to measure a team against currently because of how poor United are. I think Brentford games I've watched them. I think they've been poor. I think they've not. They're missing. They're definitely not the team they were last season.
I think they're missing. They've had injuries, and like Rico Henry's a big loss.
But everyone has. That's the thing this season.
I'd argue. I'd say Brentford have been better than United this season.
Yeah, they have for now, but I don't think they'll. I think United currently is an anomaly, and I think they'll turn it around. I see United always do turn these things around. I mean, they've got Rasmus Højlund back now, and I think they just need to click. But there is a discrepancy.
I'd call it like bottom 9 then, if I'm saying that.
Yeah,
I'd say like bottom 9 where it's just like come on.
That's it for us. Trying to strive to improve on 7th last year, it's going to be a tough ask. If it wasn't already with European football. So it's going to be very interesting. We've got a favourable run of fixtures, you may say.
Yep.
I think it is.
Yep.
I'm sure.
I think it is.
Yeah, you agree with that?
In fact, I made the point the other day. I think this run of Premier League games is the biggest in my lifetime.
Wow.
100%.
Bigger than last year?
One second. Let me look.
Bigger than Liverpool, Spurs, Brighton last year.
Hear me out.
To get into Europe.
This is more my point. Because of what we've already done and the platform we've given ourselves of 16 points, we now have West Ham, Luton, Nottingham Forest, Fulham in a row going into Spurs away and Bournemouth away.
Mm-hmm.
If we play how we know we can play and dominate those games, we could be in the best position we've been in at a certain point in the league since '92.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
it's huge.
I just think to have 16 points already and then to have this one a game, I think personally, in terms of like expectations on what could truly be done this season, I think it's the biggest one since I've been alive 100%. Because we're doing better than the lockdown season.
Yeah,
And look at the hype that had.
it is. It's what are Villa going to do now? What are we going to do? Are we that team now solidified where you come against these sides and we dispatch of them?
Yeah.
This is the difference. This is where a Newcastle last year went to the next level, where they were playing the teams around there and just beating them, and not breaking a sweat doing so. So yeah, this is the huge. It's a huge point within the season.
It's 6 games. Let's just say hypothetically, you lose to Spurs, and you get 15 points on 16. 31's normally back in 2019. That was what we were getting like towards. It's just insane. I think it's insane. I think honestly, I'm so excited. Like I think this genuinely is a run. Like, come on, Villa now. We know you can beat teams. Like, can we do it? Can we put on a run and be serious? Because if we're going into Christmas on near 29, 28 points, and then we go into that Spurs away game, like people will be talking 100%.
And this is the thing now. As Villa fans, and I'm still like this now, even though I've seen the last 30 odd games with Unai Emery, there's still that doubt that we are that team and we are that side. I still have that niggling doubt of, you know, even though there's a massive gap in terms of strength between these sides, we'll be that side that won't be able to capitalise.
Yeah.
And it's when do I get to that point of being fully entrusted, which I am. I trust everything and how it's going, and I think we're moving really far. But there's just still that slight that where with European football involved as well. We've had injuries, but there's a few players still out. Can we just sustain it, and can we build on it and keep going and really make a go for those higher European places?
Champions League, man. I think Newcastle made the Champions League not have to be this mystical thing that only certain teams can get, man. Like they rationalized getting Champions League. Like it's okay to think we should be targeting that and trying to get that.
I agree with you there. They have made it a realistic possibility, because not 2 years ago would you hear so many teams that aren't part of those 6 other clubs be talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Brighton, Newcastle probably more than us, if I'm honest, but we do get talked about now as well. You wouldn't hear about sides who are 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th talking about Champions League. It wasn't really. Maybe West Ham over the last couple of years, maybe before that, prior, but apart from that, you wouldn't. So yeah, it is. Newcastle have made it a real possibility, made it realistic, like a team can do it. And with investment, yes, but not the investment I was expecting when they first got there. But yeah, so fantastic start to the season in the league. Really hope we can push on now. But let's talk about Europa Conference League and how we're doing so far in that. And where do you think what a tune, what music, absolute anthem.
Trust me.
Better than the Champions League music.
Isn't it, man? Like until next year, of course. Music. Until next year, we think that.
Yeah, I have to hear it in person first.
Yeah.
I have to hear it in person to decide.
Next year, we'll look in the Champions League. Bro.
That Conference League tune's banging, it's hitting. But yeah, we covered the Hibs and all, and getting through to the actual competition itself. And yeah, when you saw the group initially, what were your thoughts? Were you happy with the teams we've got? Excited? I was excited just to be in it and see us in a European draw again. It's been a long time. And then we'll go on to how we've performed in the first 2 fixtures so far. So yeah, how have you felt so far in the Europa Conference League?
Well, the original draw I was quite happy with. There was like a comfortable arrogance a bit there. Like there was some good sides, but you'd expect Villa to to top the group, and then Legia away happened, and then you just like, oh, okay, wow, yeah, this is serious. These atmospheres are like determining games over like player quality and stuff, and like, yeah, it's going to be a lot harder than I initially.
I mean, of all the teams in Europe, I'd go as far to say as all the teams in Europe, possibly a few Turkish teams, maybe a couple of Italian teams, but as an atmosphere, I don't think you can go into a more hostile one as your first game back in Europe. I think it's right up there.
It's 100%.
For that. So that was a real welcome to Europe. For your first game back is Legia Warsaw away. Yeah, I know a number of the players have played in Europe before, but there might have been a few there as well that haven't played in Europe who are just like, wow, this is a whole different ball game. And there's been comments about from the players. Even McGinn said, I saw a comment. He said, size, it's just a totally different style of football and a different way of playing, different pace as well. We might be all gung ho in the Premier League, but you have to adapt against these sides because they'll be looking at Villa as the prize possession, the prize, get a victory over them. It's a massive scalp. And I think the first game, that was exactly it. It was Legia were just so determined to beat us. And we had times when we got back in the game, but every time we just capitulated within that. And it kind of felt like we were never going to get back into it in that second half. Once they got that goal. And yeah, really, it wasn't a sickener in a sense. I just felt like the whole game, atmosphere, everything just got to the players in that game because there was just no cohesion. Even you can say you've rested so many players and that, but I don't see that as an excuse these days. I really don't. Not to the quality of sides. Okay, players haven't played with each other, but you're meant to be of a standard. A number of those players that came to the side are of a standard where they've played European football on a number of occasions before. And I feel like it just got to them for some reason. The whole team, it just really got to them, and they weren't prepared or ready for that one. And yeah, Legia got the 3 points. How did you feel about that one?
It was just like it's just like the shock of it. Like defensively, the gaps we were leaving, the width they were just able to just run through and midfield at times as well, and just deliver balls into the box. The amount of space. I know we were trying to play him offside, but even still, like it was a bit concerning watching that game. I'll be real, but I think Legia and like their fans, like the synergy they have together, it just helps them so much. And yeah, I think they did deserve the win overall. Man, I don't think we deserve to leave with anything. Man. We were not good, man.
Nah, we weren't good. We were overawed. It really felt like the team was just caught in headlights. It did. It felt like there was a light in the face, and they were just shocked. The defence, the lapse in concentration, the gaps, as you mentioned, in between the centre backs and the full backs, the way they were just carving open our defence and midfield. Don't forget, and the midfield.
Midfield, yeah.
It was like they didn't know what to expect, which was crazy because the number of players there that have European experience, especially the ones that came in, Chambers, Lenglet, Lucadinho was playing, Tillemans. This European pedigree experience in there, and we were just off it that game. Really, were off it. But then you have that setback. You see the team that we have next come from behind against an AZ Alkmaar that reached the semi-final last year and win 4-3. What were your thoughts when you saw that result and knew that's what was coming next? Because that shocked me more than us losing to Legia. That was more of a shock 100%. To me. Because to come back against a side who are 3-0 up, who have that experience, who've been here last year and got that far, and win 4-3. It shows you this competition's no joke. No side in this competition is a joke at all. And yeah, it was very interesting to see. And it did have me feeling like, okay, at Villa Park, they're going to be really up for it. And you knew how they were going to set up before the game started. You knew they were just going to try and soak everything up and catch us. And it nearly happened really early. But what were your thoughts going in before that Mostar game?
we have to win. This is the game where you're at home against arguably the worst side on paper in the division. I know the results didn't say that, but yeah, man, we had to win to keep
Yeah.
up alive our chances of topping the group 100%.
Yeah, and we did. Took the last kick of the game, but we did.
I
Yeah,
thought it
it
was
was
interesting what
unreal.
Watkins was saying. He was saying like people expect you to just turn up and just beat these sides, but they're so tactical. They're good players as well, like, and they want to win for their side. So it's just like it's not as easy as it looks on paper.
No
Like
way.
these
No,
sides
not at all.
play, that these sides they're good structure, good cohesion. They all move compactly. Like it's hard to break down at times, and we saw it, man.
Yeah, and
We were
when you've
struggling.
got an ex-Rapid Vienna goalkeeper in goal, at Villa
Yeah,
Park.
the Rapid Vienna,
Yeah,
the Sean comes in like,
yeah, all of the powers come straight to him.
Yeah.
Because he was having a worldie until the final few seconds, and I think he was on for man of the match. Honestly,
deservedly.
yeah. So to get over that, to get our first win back in Europe proper, not qualified, back in proper, sets us in good stead. Everyone's on 3 points now.
And that was a good goal. That was, by the way, like Traore of all people being the one to like get started up and just.
So does that mean now Bert's had his one of the season already? Because he saved it till Leicester last year.
He's got one more.
You think he's got one more?
He's got one more. I think Forest away. He's got something.
Okay. That's early, man. I'm thinking.
Oh, you thinking
coming back African Cup of Nations time, coming back from the wilderness, like end of the season times, maybe.
Yeah, you're thinking Athens, isn't it? You're thinking after benching
maybe. That's a long way to go.
That was a lovely goal, great header from McGinn. I thought he was so fitting that he scored that goal. By the way, for him to get the winner at home, Villa European, like.
Yeah, the guy who's been with you the longest.
Yeah, it's fitting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is, and captain as well. Yeah, he was a fitting player to get that goal, and it went off in the ground. The atmosphere was mad. But yeah, everyone's on 3 points now. Do we qualify comfortably? Do we qualify, or do we fail to qualify? How are you feeling?
Well, it's interesting because I think this is the hardest game coming up now. Alkmaar on away.
Yeah.
Like they can play football, man. So yeah, it's a massive game. Massive game.
But yeah, this one's huge. This one
win. Yeah, what about you? What are you feeling for it?
Yeah, this one's probably the biggest of the group. I think these two, us and them, are 1 and 2. If I'm honest, when it comes to the end of it, we're 1 and 2, and it's just about how that goes. I can see Most on Leisure taking points off each other either game, and if I could see this. I could see this being 6-6 after 4 for every team. If I'm honest.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
And then it's a shootout, and I think Alkmaar and Villa will have enough to win, come first and second. But I could quite easily see that happening, and just AZ beating us out there and us winning at Villa Park. But it's going to be interesting. It really is. It's coming back from international break now. You've got your bogey side on the weekend, and then you've got a huge European away day in the midweek. It's a massive week. It's just straight back into it.
Love it. Had the break off, man, and then just And this time in international break, man, I know a lot of our players have got to go on international duty as well. But you got players like Diaby, Konza that have stayed back, man, and like just learning under Emery, man, just learning like.
Yeah.
He's good, man. Carlos as well.
Dougie was still there. Even though I think next time Dougie's going to be there. I think after the results this week, I think Dougie's going to be on the next plane.
Absolute joy, by the way, that he's not called up. And I know people will say, Villa fans will say, I hear this argument all the time. It's just like, yeah, but at least he won't get injured. And I agree with you. That's good from our selfish point of view. It's good. Like he stays. He's not gonna get injured, or he's less likely to. But when you're playing that well, you deserve to be recognised by your national team. And the last thing we'd want is for a player to think, oh, maybe I'm not getting enough attention. Maybe the spotlight's not on me enough. Maybe if I was somewhere else playing exactly the same, like I would have been called up. So yeah, I think it's important for players to get acknowledged for like the performances they're putting in, because
Yeah,
he
it
has
is. It's
been our
huge.
best player
Yeah,
that season and arguably this season. So
yeah. Dougie for me is our best player, and Emmy's up there. Emmy's up there, but Dougie is our best player. He's
what
my
do you,
most integral player.
when you say best, do you say best performer this season? Because I have a different ranking.
No,
I'd say he's up.
I'm not necessarily best performer this season, but I feel like the drop off in everything we do when Dougie's not playing
Yeah.
is huge.
See, I go
It's
back and forth.
massive.
I go back and forth between Louise and Ramsey. Like I can't decide. I think
No, but
Ramsey.
Ramsey is huge, but we've shown this season so far that we've been able to cope. Albeit there's a difference, but there's games where we have been able to cope.
Yeah.
I feel like obviously Emmy is huge because firstly he's a great keeper, and secondly the drop off is massive in comparison to Louise. Even though I don't know the way the other guys been playing recently, and maybe it's the same, but you'd say that the drop off's huge in comparison. But I
Yeah.
just feel like Dougie controls the game so well, and he's so integral to how we play. And he's chipping in with the GA, and he's doing set pieces. He can sit. He's
Nah,
our
he's unbelievable.
conductor.
He's playing at a level now, the highest level of his career, no doubt.
Yeah. And he still doesn't get the recognition. I still think he's one of the most underrated centre mids in the league. I don't understand how a centre midfield partnership that got a team 7th and they're currently 5th and their midfielders are still so underrated, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. As long as he keeps going underrated and stays and signs another extension to his deal, I'll be happy. But there's gonna be club sniffing because he's such a high standard Man City key.
Arsenal still monitoring him, so like that's what Arsenal do. They're still these old players. They do. They're still monitor the players. So
yeah, there'll always be links with Arsenal due to his Brazil. Yeah, due as well, just due to Arteta, Man City, Edu, and Brazil. There's always going to be a link to Douglas Luiz because he has the relationships with both. Arteta was a coach when he was at the City Academy. He might have seen glimpses of him. I know we went out on loan to Girona and that, but he probably spent time with him. And then Edu has the Brazilian links, and Dougie, was prominent at a younger age and also at the Olympics.
Yeah, 100%.
So he's a well-known player within the Brazilian setup, which makes it more shocking that he doesn't get selected. But
yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, exactly. But he loves Villa. He's always speaking about he loves Villa in his eyes. So
yeah.
But to touch on Ramsey, just quickly, I was devastated. That's probably the lowest I've felt all season. Less than the Leicester game. For Ramsey to come back, do what he did against Brighton, we see the level in quality from our other options like Bailey and Zanillo when Ramsey comes on the pitch. He's a different stratosphere to these other options we have. And it's genuinely heartbreaking that he's out again. I wish him a speedy recovery because when he's on the pitch, our entire left side dynamic is improved.
It's another dimension. It's another dimension. And this is a negative because they're out, but a positive because we're doing so well with that left-hand side. Because for me, that felt huge at the start of the season. That's where we attacked full start period. And that's credit to Unai Emery. But last year, the left-hand side was crucial in everything we did because nothing could happen on the right-hand side. And it was down to those two players. And, I think Digne has his off moments, but he stepped up in parts. I think I still believe myself that I haven't seen enough of Zaniolo yet. There's glimpses again, but I don't think I've seen enough of Zaniolo yet. But with that, we still managed to produce great results and good performances as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Ramsey's back very, very soon because he's an unreal player. He's an England international in the making. He will go on to be a huge player for us. It's just he needs to get that fitness back, and hopefully, we're looking the next international break 6 weeks. They were saying so. We've been
I saw late November. I think I saw like 24th of November.
Yeah, so 6 weeks. So you've got a couple more weeks, maybe mid to late November. Probably late November because I won't want to rush him back. They won't want to rush him back at all, and you can't be rushing back a player of that standard because he's so integral when he's playing to us as well. He's an unbelievable player.
It's just shocking. I just think sometimes, like, because he's an academy, it's like the reverse happens. Like, he gets underrated a bit more still. Like, because you didn't have to pay a figure for him. It's like that kind of thing. But man, it's just so good. He's a bit crazy. He's a bit crazy how good he actually, how complete he is at everything. So yeah, speedy recovery, man.
A shout out to CFCOG. Says Villa are cooking this season.
Shout
Yeah,
out
we're
to-
trying. We're
Oh,
trying.
We're trying a little thing, man. We're just doing our
Yeah.
thing, man. Going under the radar. Like, that's how
Going
we
under
do
the
it.
radar. Yeah, we've been cooking, so people are starting to take notice. But yeah, so overall, who's your standouts been so far this season? We'll talk about the new signings. We'll go into that first. Standout signings you're still waiting to see a bit more from, but you know there's time still to be allowed. What's your thoughts on how the new signings have settled in so far?
So strictly on new signings.
Yeah, and then we'll go into the team as a whole.
I think the first person to touch on is Diaby. Of course, he's the record signing, and I think the Burnley away game was amazing from him. Like, that first time finish, like what he was doing, coming short, like contributing to the build up. Like, yeah, man, I've been really, really impressed by what I've seen. Genuinely, he's electric.
He's an outstanding player who I feel's got more levels to go.
100%. Because sometimes I feel like I don't think Villa get him involved enough on the ball.
Yeah,
I get what Emery wants from him. He wants him to stretch the play. He wants the ball over the top from Louise, stretch the play, force them to drop back, force us to get up the pitch. But even sometimes, like, I don't feel like we've seen him like get in a position to like do like a straight 1v1 or like we saw more in pre-season. So yeah, man, there's even levels for him.
He's got so much ability. And I remember the one he did have, which was given offside. Was that Palace? Was that there was one where Pau Torres played the ball over the top and finished it. Palace. Yeah. That was a one time where we've seen him just go dart and Pau's picked him out. And you know how Pau picks up like the Duran goal. Pau can just play a pass.
That was
through two CBs just like that. But yeah, I feel like there's just gears to go, and people are noticing Diaby's getting noticed as being a huge player and a great player. But I still think there's levels to go in him.
There is levels. Like, he's not like where you just at the point where he just like every touch is he's not at that. He can be a bit raw with the touches at the time. It takes time to like compete with your teammates, like get into that kind of flow.
And that just shows how well he has acclimatized, doesn't it? Because
yeah,
you see a lot of signings from the Bundesliga taking seasons, and maybe sometimes not even working. But Diaby's just come straight in, and it's just a different dynamic in that front too.
It was good. I will say though, against Wolves, I did not think he was match fit at all.
No, I think we rushed him back.
Yeah,
he felt rushed.
Even like because I was
even Kamara felt rushed as well. To be honest, I feel like they're both.
But I think Diaby, like even just looking at his touches close up, like they were a bit sloppy. Like he just looked like he was breathing heavy. Like I'm not sure if he was match fit at all. But overall, yeah, man, solid, happy, very happy.
Then we'll go on to the centre back then from Spain, the Pau Torres.
Oh, what do you think of Pau? I'll ask you first.
I think he's a very gifted footballer, and I think, considering the position he was thrown into the side and how he's stepped up, I think he's been very good so far. Very good. Not outstanding, but very good. He wasn't expecting to come on so early. He wasn't. I don't think Emery or him were expecting to start games so early.
Yeah.
Within his Premier League career, he's been thrown straight in at the deep end. Newcastle, that can happen. We've seen PSG get smacked for 4 up there. So it was like, he didn't seem comfortable at all that game. But he's grown into that centre-back role. And I think he's just, on the ball, he's a fantastic centre-back. He's unbelievable. The passes he can pick, the way he plays, the way he conducts the game. And I think Palace was a big game where I saw that. Watching that game, like live and seeing it. And no, actually Everton. The way he was controlling the play and conducting the play, most touches, most passes, literally conducting the whole game from centre back. and
Yeah.
that's something we've really missed. Mings is towards the end of last season, especially, was very good. He was getting very good at playing, but I still think on the ball, Pau Torres is just that level higher in the detail and the way he can play and make a pass or cut through, teams when they're on the press. And he's another player. I think there's levels to go. Once he gets more used to the pace of the league, because you can't deny there's been a few times where he's been caught out of position, or he's been the Palace game where Mateta absolutely turns him on sixpence.
Yeah.
Neto, even though I don't think Neto was his fault, I think he defended well there, considering the level Neto's at currently. Maybe he could have done a bit more, but I think he'll get even better. I think he just needs more time, and I think he's been very, very good so far. What about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just more focusing on the arguments made like against him. Like I think we kind of knew what his weaknesses would be coming into the league. Like we know he's not the strongest. We know he's not the quickest. We know he lacks like the physicality. So I just think it's more like a case of getting used to the league, but almost like not putting him in positions where he has to deal with that type of player. Do you know what I mean? Like scheming to make sure that he is better protected, whether that's from the fullback, whether that's from Dougie dropping deep like he has done in certain games as well. But on the ball, we're just talking about like taking our build-up play to just. People will say he's not better than Mings. I personally think he's better than Mings in the build-up, and I personally think
100%.
I think like the ceiling's been risen a bit. He loves that little. He gets the ball and then he'll like position his body as if he's going to go to the left, and he'll come inside.
Check
and
inside.
He's done that quite a lot now. I think one game it didn't work, but like now he's getting into his rhythm. Like he's starting to work, man. And I think that Brighton game where he was being tasked to come into centre midfield and press, win the ball back, play out. Like he's getting.
That was the game where it looked like he was getting very comfortable the way he played and stepped up on Welbeck, almost playing centre midfield. I think that's the Pau Torres Unai Emery knows and has had at Villarreal and has the confidence in, because he was just stepping up, had no fear, didn't care, winning the ball, playing on their toes. And Welbeck's no slouch. I know he's getting on, but he's no slouch at all to get in behind. No. And even when they did get in behind, they had the one with Estupiñán. But apart from that, it was well. We covered it well. And that may be as well that the team were more, around him and supporting him. Konsa was dropping into the spaces, sweeping at certain times.
Yeah.
But those two can be a formidable partnership for the rest of this season for sure.
And he got his goal. He's got striking instincts as well. So.
And that really, really good finish that was. A great ball from
Watkins playing a pass to Torres in the box scoring. Like, what's going on there?
I know. Watkins loves an assist, man. He loves an assist, but all-round striker. All right, then. So we'll go on to other signings. I feel like we can group these because the impact for me has just not been as prevalent. Youri Tielemans, Clement Lenglet, and who's
Zaniolo.
And Zaniolo,
Thoughts
on those three?
Who's you want to
We'll focus on Zaniolo because Zaniolo's had the most minutes so far.
Zaniolo.
Enigma.
I'm part of the Villa fans that are just not seeing it. I'm sorry, like I just don't see it. But what I'll focus on is what he's good at. He's good at drawing players, similar to what Jack used to do. Like I do see Jack Grealish, like I do see that example, and he can draw players. He's got a bit of gravity about him. His first touch is actually decent. Like he has a decent first touch. My issue with Zaniolo is just like the decision making. I just feel like you've got yourself into a position where you've drawn 2, 3, 4 man out. We saw it against Chelsea. Now you've created the passing lane for players like McGinn to be able to receive the ball and be free. You have to just release the ball, man. You have to release the ball quickly, and it's the speed and tempo of the Premier League. Like you can't be trying to take on 2, 3 players and not release him, man. It's selfish play. It's not play beneficial to the team. So I don't know if that can change within the capacity of the loan, because you got to think as well, the conditions of the loan is a certain amount of appearances. We have to make that permanent. It's like 40 million. I don't see a 40 million pound player. So it's just,
Not yet. Not for me either. Not yet.
I just think, yeah, just the releasing the ball, like just fundamentals of playing.
It's
And
the
just,
decision making.
yeah,
Because for all the brilliance he can show demonstrating a strike or a
and
bit of
over
skill,
kick.
a meg or an overhead kick, it's your overall game for the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's shown enough within those minutes he's been getting where he even troubles Ramsey when Ramsey's fully fit, or not
Well,
yet.
I'd argue
Prove me
Bailey's.
wrong.
I'd argue Bailey's been more impactful than in this
I
season,
think-
and I see Bailey as a bench option.
Yeah, same. I don't see
It's just
Bailey as a starter at all, but Bailey has performed better than Zaniolo this
Yeah,
season.
in Palace and the Everton game, like 100%. Like
That's a fact. And that's the
Well-
contributions to go with it.
I think to just highlight my point more, I think there was just a time like at Chelsea away where he's had the volley like we spoke about in the first half where you're like, whoa, that is quality, like to show an individual action. But then there was just like another part in the second half where he's got into the box, he's received the ball, he's brought two players around him. The space is there for Digne. You just got to play the pass. He's in for a 1v1 and he's shot, and you just like, that's selfish, man. Like we might get away with the 3 points in the end, so people forget about it. But there's going to come a time where you need to release. We saw it Burnley in his very first game where we gave him a blight. Like he's you got past the Watkins with an open goal for the tapping, and you're shooting. It's like, come on, man, this is fundamentals. So Zaniolo, I'd see him mostly as like an impact sub off the bench, like we saw in the last game. To be fair, maybe Emery's realised it as well. But yeah, I'm not convinced there's a 40 player there. No.
Prove me wrong, Zaniolo, because I haven't seen enough yet for me for a permanent to be even talked about. But
No,
we'll see. And then you go on to Lenglet. Can't say enough about for me.
He was good against Leicester.
He was very good. He's had one. People said to me he was okay against Legia Warsaw, and it was Digne and Chambers. I thought it was the whole back four, and a player of Lenglet. I know it's his first game, but a player who's had French international caps, Barcelona, so many appearances.
Yeah.
He should be standing out in games like that, and he didn't. He shirked. For me, he shirked. He wasn't the presence that I thought he was going to be. So I thought he was poor. Mo Star, he was much better. Very good on the ball in that game. So there's not enough to judge right now. There's not enough to judge. There's not enough to judge at all. And then the last one, the man from Leicester, Yuri Tielemans.
This one's just a bit mad. Like the general feeling is we've had a free transfer and still felt like we've like, got a bit robbed of a deal. But
and it's just so circumstantial because 2 years ago this deal happens and you're over the moon. You're like, wow, I've got one of the best midfielders in the league. I don't know what it is with Yuri Tielemans.
The quality, we've seen the quality for the Palace pass as well. Like we've seen the quality can happen, like it can occur. But I like to talk about like flaws that players have. Like what can they do? The basics. Like do they get the basics right? His flaw against like Everton in the cup game, he was doing everything wrong. He was doing a lot wrong, and you just think, man, these games you're supposed to come in. And I don't want to get onto his quote about not getting game time because I do think that was misconstrued a bit in the media. I don't think he was complaining as such, but I just think like you come into these games now, you have to be the best midfielder on the pitch.
Even Hibs at home, I didn't think he was good in that game at all.
Yeah, he was.
Mo Star, he was better. He was better in the Mo Star game. Still elements and areas where he lost the ball on like but his passing was much better. He was creating more. But I just don't know whether his legs are. He just seems off it, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if that age factor. He's been playing since he was 16. He's been
exactly. People say, but he's only
generation.
It's a long career he's had. It's not a 26-year-old traditional career he's had, man.
Yeah, like Yuri Tielemans has been that guy for Belgium. I know you got De Bruyne and all that, but in the next underneath that, Yuri Tielemans has been, the prospect, the mega star, the one who's going to be the next huge Belgian player. And I don't know if all those games at such a young age have just caught up with him. I don't know. The man's only 26, and he's there's just times and areas. where he just looks like he can't. He doesn't look like he can operate in the two. Even when we go into a three, he looks sometimes just off the pace.
Yeah.
Can't turn on the ball or be. It just seems like easily pushed off the ball. And I heard off Leicester fans, I've seen what they were saying that relegation season, and they said he was a huge part of it because he just wasn't at it at all. I know there was other factors that happened with Leicester. Centre backs weren't to standard. Indeed, he fell off as well. Tielemans was a big part of why they went down.
And you just wonder, has that become habitual from last season? Like, has he picked up tendencies that he can't get rid of at the moment? Like the laziness, the sloppiness, the losing coming from
But I
like
don't even. But the thing is, I don't even think it's laziness. That's the thing. I don't think he's being lazy.
I don't know. I think sometimes I've seen him like on transition, he won't track back, and you think, oh, come on, Tielemans, you gotta make that run a bit quicker.
I don't know if his legs are there. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he could be lazy at points, but I don't know. I think it's more than that. I do. Yeah. And I think the way we play and how dynamic we're trying to be, and that system, or he may just be the wrong player to fit in that system, or how we try. I know Emery changes it up all the time, and he operates in different ways. But I feel like he needs two in the middle. I think Tielemans is at that stage where he needs two in the middle with him.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree with you.
To play to his strengths.
Because you can't play that advanced role in the absence of Ramsey. Like, I know people suggested that might even be a thing, but you can't play high up back to goal. Like, you'll lose the ball all the time.
He'll lose the ball. He has to operate either a deeper role, but someone sitting next to him, or just play that in the middle and play with a three in front of him and have two behind. But yeah, it's an interesting one. And I really do hope he picks it up or he finds a spark somewhere, because I don't know.
We need him, man. Injuries, we need him. We need him to pick up.
He needs to step up. He does. He does need to step up. We'll see.
There have been like little links with like Galatasaray and like teams, but I don't know how true they'd be in January. So I think that's just paper talk and stuff.
But yeah, I think that. Yeah, but he needs to step up, because his name's going to be going down and down. But if he continues, he does. You sign a player of that quality, that amount of international appearances, who's been an absolute. But you've witnessed it, and he's only 26 still, and it just seems like the level's already gone down where he should be hitting his peak. It's mad. It's mad.
But as you said, it's not a traditional 26-year-old career, is it? He's been playing ball, made his debut at 16. That's 10 years in the game already, like non-stop. It's a bit mad.
And you see a lot of players like that who start so young and then they start to tail off 26, 27. They have, they show moments and they have big games within that, but it's not the consistency they have over a season. There's been a number of players like that who've tailed off because they had such a big, Michael Owens, Wayne Rooney's a 2. Wayne Rooney was good later on because he's that special of a player, but he wasn't the Rooney he was when he was 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, he might. I don't know. We'll see. So, yeah, within the whole squad and team itself, 3 standouts so far. Who would you go for?
Louise, Watkins, Konsa.
Yeah.
That would be
I think Ezri Konsa's got to be up there for sure. Because he's been made to be that guy now.
Just touching on Ezri, we signed this guy as the most progressive passer in the English Football League when he joined from Brentford. Like, that was who we signed, confident on the ball to help us build up. And I think through different circumstances and that confidence got drilled out of him a bit. Like, if you remember early on into our Premier League seasons, he'd delegate to Mings. The pass would go to Mings. Mings would play that channel pass to. It's like a rugby punt where you just kick it down the field to Watkins to hold up, and then Grealish does the rest. Like, that was our game plan under Smith. Like, let's be real. Then Smith was amazing. I did amazing things for Villa, but like, that was our game plan. And when you're not building down
as quick as possible,
when you're not building down the right, it's gonna cumulatively like impact Konsa's ability to play out. And now it's like we're finally seeing, like, in terms of on the ball play, like that pass against Brighton was just ridiculous, where he just like marched forward, took it past 2 players outside of the boot on a dime for like Diaby. Like, it's just insane. So yeah, Konsa definitely top 3 for me.
Konsa's always, I've always really liked Konsa, but I feel like under Emery, I know other players like you, Louise, and stuff like that, and Watkins, they say they've gone to another level under Emery, but I feel like Konsa's a big one, who's been allowed to play, was outstanding towards the end of last season with Mings as a partnership. And you remember that goal in America in pre-season? You feel like he's on it.
I was
when
about
he's
to say,
doing stuff like that.
I forgot. Yeah, like what a goal.
When he's doing stuff like that, it seems like he was on it. Had the blip against Newcastle, but that seems like it's in the past now, the way he's playing. He's been outstanding so far, through Konsa. And long may that continue, because he's been playing ridiculously. And another one who's I feel deserving of an international call-up.
What do you think about the dynamics now, though, with Carlos back, and how interesting it is? Because I think people aren't talking about this enough. Emery has a bit of a selection headache with all the injuries, because Emery loves Carlos, and I've had my doubts on Carlos in terms of like recovering from the Achilles injury, in terms of fitness and defensively. But in terms of ball progression, bro, the confidence he plays passes. Oh, I was watching the Wolves game back the other day, and the amount of forward passes he plays, and it's just like the motions all one. He'll receive, turn, play the pass, like that.
And the pinpoint as well.
Their pinpoint, and it gets us up the pitch. Like, Carlos is so good at that. I can't see Carlos being taken out of that right centre back role anytime soon, now that he's back from injury.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
it's a very good problem to have.
If Konsa's being moved to right back, but then again, I think Cash can be limited at right mid.
Yeah, agreed.
I think Cash has shined at right back against like what he was doing against Mitoma, against Brighton, and that. Like,
yeah, agreed.
I think right mid.
I know he did have the game against
Burnley game, yeah. But I'd rather start Bailey right mid, or begin right mid, Bailey left mid.
But ideally for me, McGinney's the right mid. He should be in that position, and Ramsey's fit and he's the left side.
So it's their selection header. Does Cash? Surely Cash doesn't get dropped. Like, do you know what I mean?
I feel like now it is more than ever with the quality we have in this squad, and we have to think now we have quality within this squad. It's a game of using your squad, and for however Emery wants to play, different options. I think he'll change it quite a bit this year. We've already seen a lot of changes from our side this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we've had the most number of players being used in a side, because there's been changes within the lineup, players coming in, players coming out. I think Emery would just chop and change it for whoever we're playing against, as well as if he just fancies playing a different style.
Do you think we'd ever see Powell like left back in quote marks with Cash pushing?
I originally thought that was the option. We were dependent on, again, opposition or tactic.
Yeah, because Carlos can play as the centre back, can't he? Because he's both right and left footed. Like, and Konsa can go RCB.
Yeah, so it was either going to be one side Moreno left back, or the other side Cash right back, and then you'd move the centre backs within that to orientate it. Even maybe Moreno left mid, Powell left back,
starting
or the same again.
Yeah.
As we've done with Konsa and Cash. And playing.
That'll be interesting. Moreno starting high will be interesting with no like defensive responsibility. Would he be the same?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one, because I mean, Alex Moreno can do a lot. He can beat him. And again, Digne has had some good performances. He's got some great assists. He's got good crosses. Can be unbelievable crosses on his day. But for me, from what I've seen at Alex Moreno, I don't know if he'll be the same now after such a long absence, and he was a big injury.
Hamstring injury, wasn't it?
The way Moreno could cross, we've seen it West Ham away, Watkins header. The way he could beat a man, beat his fullback, cut it back. Yeah. And there's a really good article from the guy, it's James from The Athletic, and he was discussing how Villa cut the ball back, and we witnessed it a lot at the end.
It's the best way for like high chance creation, chance creation with the best. Like, no doubt in my mind, Moreno is a couple levels above Digne's qualities are stand and deliver, but the problem is when you get put into space, if you're slowing down the play to stand and deliver across, it's easier to defend. Whereas
Yeah,
if you're
and he's done a cutback as well because he cut back for Burnley for Diaby on his
yeah,
third. But it's not the same. It's not the same as
he
Marino who
doesn't
can.
attack his. I don't think I've ever seen Digne take on his man 1v1, like have a step over or something. Whereas Moreno, like he has that in his bag. He can drop the shoulder. He's got so many different varieties to beat a man, attack to the byline and just deliver the cutback. Honestly, like I just another player that I just wish a speedy recovery, man, because we miss
Well,
his.
I don't know where he is. How close is he? Is he back in training
Like he
now?
doesn't. I thought we would have seen training pictures of him today, so he's obviously not going to be ready for the weekend.
Yeah, another huge miss, I think, and it's just an option as well. It's just another option, even if he doesn't
It's
come
an
straight away off the bench. Yeah, well, he
I
was
think we're
integral.
talking about integral players here. Like it's just
He was.
ridiculous. Like at this point, like the amount of players that were just still missing, man. It's a bit mad. Buendia, the other day I was talking about how much we miss Buendia. I know Buendia could be a bit frustrating, but he was that narrow progression that we played, the through balls through the middle. Like he was a big part of that, man.
I know it's mad. It's 4 starters from last year just not involved whatsoever.
Madness.
It's mad, and that's credit to Villa and Unai Emery in the side. How are you judging Unai so far? Then, how do you feel like he's gone about the season so far?
I think what I love about Unai the most is it always seems like there's a specific game plan for each team. And that's like comforting to know. Like the Brighton game, you could see he pushed Pau Torres off. He had Dougie and Kamara pressing their midfielders. He had Watkins and Diaby pressing from the front. Like you can see a game plan. I do think to be like a little bit negative when either we don't take the lead early on or a team's happy to sit back. Like we can struggle to break them down a bit. I think we saw it a bit against Wolves, saw it a bit against Palace second half, and what other games? Maybe you could argue Everton. I know that was a changed team, but once Everton take the lead in the cup, it's like hard to see us really get back into it. So yeah, I'd like to see like maybe a different tactic if we go like a goal down off the game states like level for so long. But apart from that, can't really complain too much. Like we're getting results, man. We're creating chances, which is good to see.
That was the big one for me because
Yeah.
we defended. I feel like more last season. I know we started getting goals, but our defending was what got us to where we were. We defended and the unit we created, and we were scoring goals, but it was on transition or it was catching teams off guard or getting an early goal. I think this year it's more build up, creating chances, and it's so good to see that he's just added another bow to the side instead of last year where it was being defensively astute. Can we nick it 1-0, maybe 2-1, get the goal? It's now teams who are, we should be beating. We're creating a lot of chances against, and the more chances you create for Ollie Watkins, he's going to score. He's going to score goals.
Yeah, no worries about what
you have to forget. This is a striker who's played under Dean Smith and Steven Gerrard. Dean Smith in the Premier League was not Dean Smith in the Championship, and even then, we did create chances because Tammy missed a hatful, but we didn't create a lot under Dean Smith. If you look at the numbers and how we played, we didn't create a lot, and under Gerrard, we didn't create much at all. So if we improve the creativity, which we have done this season so far, Watkins will get goals, and I have no doubt he gets 20 goals if we maintain that.
I just think touching on that, I just think that the conversations about Watkins and the missed chances and does he need to be benched? So I just find it's like so jarring. Like genuinely, just once you get over the thing of he's gonna.
As he says, it's fickle. It's fickle.
Like any
we probably have opinions that people think are fickle as well. So I hear it.
I think people sometimes should just like look at the big chances missed tables, and you'll see Haaland, Salah, and you'll think, hang on a minute, why would we put this down? Like, no, the striker's getting chances. Yes, it can be frustrating if he doesn't score everyone, but what striker does? Like he's got 4 goals now. He's got 4 assists, like in 8 games. He is our guy, and we just have to believe in him, man.
Strikers miss chances. Like every striker misses chances, and it's just because it's your striker. I think
You think he's the
obviously you
only
just see
one?
him all the time. You think
Yeah.
they're the only one in the world that do,
Yeah,
and everyone else
else
is
spending.
either 1 in 1, 1 in 2, which is not.
It's just not the
There's
case.
strikers miss hatfuls of chances, but if your team creates more, there's more probabilities you're going to score more goals, and I think that is the case with Ollie Watkins. So yeah, very good start to the season. It's going to be so. I just can't wait. I can't wait to get started on the weekend again.
Yeah.
Huge game, tough game, tough game.
Are we going into it, or
Now we'll save that. We'll save
we'll
that. We'll
save
do
that?
a
Yeah,
separate pod and do something before the game. But for instances and just quick thoughts, I think that's a very tough game. I think
Yeah.
West Ham have a very good side, and have made some fantastic signings and set up very well coached.
And
a man who again is very underrated as a coach.
It's 8 games, 0 wins since promotion. So
Huge. It's a huge one.
Origi, like, we have to massive, exciting. But I really do think we can. It's Villa at home. I'll back us against anyone.
I hope so, because I always think about that goal a lot. The Fornals deflection goal. That goal sticks in my head because it was just like that game was a 0-0 written all over it, and the way they nicked that, it just felt like West Ham at Olympic Stadium, the 3-2 again. We dominated and still lost. Yeah, they really are our bogey side. At least with Wolves, I feel like Wolves deserve their results the times we played them. West Ham, there's been some games where I don't know how they're beating us. But yeah, can't wait for Sunday. Only game Sunday as well.
Oh no,
so
man.
Prime time as well. The people will be watching.
We can't claim we don't get attention now, man. We didn't put under prime time.
Well, Brighton was prime time early kickoff, and we showed up.
True.
We showed out. So
everyone's still
hopefully we can do the same.
Aren't they? This one's everyone's going to be having their dinner and all that. Like they're going, oh, let's see what Villa got. Let's hold
claret and blue rivals. You know how it is.
Exactly.
But yeah, anyway, bro, thanks for joining me. This has been great to have a catch up on everything Villa. Quickly before we go, actually, just a few things outside of the actual pitch. Firstly, the news today, partnership with Vissel, Darius.
Kobe.
Yeah, Darius Kobe. Thoughts on that? Is it just, we're going to get some players in, we're going to look at it, or is it more our way of marketing ourselves to another audience in Asia?
I definitely think the emphasis is on the commercial side.
Yeah,
and how we can brand ourselves and try and tap into that community and try and build our fan base. Yeah.
For sure, I agree. I mean, there's a partnership with an Asian side, part of V Sports, an African side, and then another European side as well. Starting to build now. There's no ownership with Vissel, is there? It's just a partnership in terms of.
Well, the Villa statement did say they joined V Sports.
So they have. So is it actual ownership, or are they?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's been no report of like any kind of like stake.
No, I haven't seen no stake.
The Villa statement said they've joined V Sports, which was interesting. I thought that's the company that owns Villa, in it. That's what branded themselves as now.
That's what Victoria and
said
about one day. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah,
they're growing. They're really trying to grow it. Another thing regarding that, head of talent has left. Former football director of football, Johan Lang, to Spurs. How do you feel about his time here and thoughts on his departure?
I think it's interesting with Villa because the lines are so blurred to who signed who recruited who. Is like we attribute it in our mind like certain players, but we don't actually really know. So it's kind of hard. What I will say is though, I have heard from like other people that he and someone called Frederick Leff helped build our data department.
Yeah, and I heard Frederick Left's a huge part of the data department as well, and they're considering getting him as well, aren't they, at Spurs?
Yeah, so that's something I can actually attribute to Lange. Like he built the data department up, and that's helped Villa in many ways. I think was he marginalised under Gerrard? Like links like that came out when Gerrard was sacked from like Telegraph saying Lang was marginalised, like he wasn't heard as much or stuff, or like his impact on signings wasn't shared with Gerrard. He wanted his own guys or whatever, but or Purslow maybe wanted his guys with Gerrard. But yeah, I don't get the slander. I don't think that's
No, I
true.
don't.
Like,
I
I
don't get
don't.
a slander.
I think
I mean, some fans might see it as Johan Lang signings were Rob Olsen and Ludwig Augustinsson,
yeah,
which are howlers at the end of the day.
yeah.
You can't put them nicely.
But then he's got
But then you can consider Boubacar Kamara.
Watkins and
that-
Martinez. Like I know
yeah,
people say it's true
Watkins,
to
Martinez.
Smith, but he still has to get the deal over
Yeah.
the line. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. But the room. I know he's getting deals over the line, but there's Neil Cutler seems. There's always talk that Neil Cutler
Yeah.
played a big part in Emi Martinez, and obviously Ollie Watkins was managed by Dean Smith, and so it's blurred lines, isn't it? It's really blurred lines, and how his involvement and I think the main thing you can take from it is we've pushed on a lot as a club since he's been here.
Yeah.
So maybe that is just a positive because he was part of that makeup, albeit there's been some howlers in the process, but there's been some gems as well. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what he does there. I don't know how much control he gets over there now because I'm sure Paratici still has links within Spurs.
Yeah.
So it's really weird how that's going to work over there. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see, and that I think really it reinstates now that Monchi's got full control on that department and that area. I don't know how you feel about that.
I got mixed feelings on that.
Yeah, I'm not fully on board with Monchi as of yet. I know the Sevilla, but that's a long time ago. There's network, there's connections, but you can't avoid what happened at Roma. So it will be interesting. It will be very interesting to see how he does here, and it will take a few windows, etc., to judge. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. All right, bro. Thanks for joining me on this again. It's been great to catch up. We're going to be back. We're going to be doing more. We need to be talking more about Villa. We need to be covering more. My bad, and I've been busy and stuff like that. But content's going to be free flowing, and there's going to be a lot more coming through. So everyone who's watching or who's going to watch, if you could drop a comment as well, because responding to your comments,
share with as many people as you can. We appreciate it all, and
get it out there as well. If you do enjoy it, and
if you enjoy,
subscribe to the channel. But even dropping comments, you'll get a response to all of those because I enjoy the interactions, and we're trying to build a community over here. Anyway, bro, thanks for your time.
Good speaking.
The Villa, man, and we'll provide a West Ham preview in probably tomorrow. So yeah, thanks all. What the Villa, and let's see what happens, and look forward to the preview. Cheers, bro.